This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings finished up their first road trip of the season with a 126-112 loss to the Nuggets in Denver. Marvin Bagley had a good game, though, with 20 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 blocks. He played 32 minutes off the bench. The Kings are back home tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. Our pregame coverage begins with game night at 5:30. Kings Live is at 6:30, and 10 tip-off with the G-Man is set for 7 o'clock. Right here on Sports 1140. The Red Sox took a 1-0 lead in the World Series with an 8-4 win over the Dodgers last night at Fenway Park. The Sharks went into the third period trailing 4-2 in Nashville, but got 3 goals in the third to beat the Predators 5-4. And the Giants traded defensive lineman Snacks Harrison to the Giants traded Snacks Harrison to the Lions for a 5th-round pick. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Go to your room.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what? Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning. You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Here comes Mason on the run. He'll launch from 30, and he scores to beat the buzzer. Gary Harris hit the triple on the deep left wing for Denver, but he left 4.5 seconds. That was just enough time for Frank Mason.
Oh, Frank Mason with a big buzzer beater. Frank looked good last night. I want to remind you, your Peckus Brothers moment of the game gets your spectacular backyard. Get you the spectacular backyard that you've always wanted with a beautiful Peckus Brothers patio or sunroom. The best price, best value, guaranteed every day. Hey, Peckus Brothers. For real. All right, Kings lose last night. Wasn't pretty. If you are wondering where the Kings are on the Kings inverted negativity game score, or Kings, that was not a moral victory last night. Not at all. Kings are 1-2-1 on the season. The one moral victory was against the Jazz. You were asking me if last night was a moral victory. You saying 2? Wait, what did I say? 1-2-1. I'm sorry, 1-3-1. I apologize. Kyle was giving me the fingers. 1-3-1. 1-3-1. Want to pay this off. Kyle, Blake Griffin last night had 50 points. He is the first Detroit Piston to put up 50 points in a game since.
I think somebody on the text line has the right answer. I was going to guess somebody random like Reggie Jackson.
Nope, baseball player. Try again.
Oh, shoot.
Yep.
Tom Seaver.
Tom Seaver. No, the texter looked it up and cheated. I saw the same text too, so guess what? Congratulations, texter. You ruined it for everybody. Everyone.
Unbelievable.
The last Detroit Piston. Oh, a lot of Brandon Jennings guesses, and those are really good guesses. Was Rip Hamilton.
Oh, see, Brandon Jennings was what I saw, and I thought that was the right answer.
Rip Hamilton did it in 2006. Wow. From the 5-3-0. Stop with the damn cat noises.
Oh, that's a bad thing to ask.
Just never, ever the right move. Kings.
Hey,
go ahead.
Pro tip, everybody: if you want Dave to not do a thing, never acknowledge it.
Yeah, you got to frame it a certain way. Like, you know what would make you really super good looking and awesome, Dave? Would be those cat noises not happening anymore. You gotta kind of suck up a little.
Yeah. I get a little brown on the nose.
Yeah, just a little bit, much like a kitty. Okay, Kings lose to the Nuggets, 126-112. Marvin Bagley, your highlight of the night, 20 points, 9 boards, 5 blocks on 9 of 11 shooting, 32 minutes for Bagley. Justin Jackson, though, let's not move past Justin Jackson. 7 of 11, made half his, 60% from 3 of 5. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 17 points. And Frank Mason also threw in 14. Although I got to tell you, can somebody tell Frank Mason it's not illegal to look for your trailers? Can somebody tell Frank, you're 5'11", I love you, buddy, but you got when you've got a 4-on-2, there's 2 choices. Drive right into the middle of the 2 7-footers and try to get contact, or I don't know, lob it, pass it to your bigs that are running the floor and let them thunder dunk it.
You know when you're driving and a light goes yellow and you're right at that point of no return where you can either slam on your brakes or speed up and get through it? Frank Mason perpetually plays at the speed up to get through it light.
Yes, yes. He
like
a moment.
Gets, like that dude gets to the 3-point line and it is, all right, accelerator.
Listen, he's still young.
No, I'm not.
I mean, he's kind of young. He played 4 years of college. This is his second year now.
That is an adjustment that can be made.
I think part of it, I could be totally wrong here. And again, disclaimer, I like Frank Mason. I really do. I really do root for him. And I think he has a lot of talent. But I wonder if that's a short guy thing. I wonder if that's a little bit of a short guy thing where you're like, you've called me short my whole life. Watch me take it in on the trees.
I think it might be an athleticism thing where he sees the opportunity to get to the basket and possibly get to the free throw line.
I think that's exactly what he's thinking.
He can just blow by the person.
And when
maybe he doesn't
no one,
trust his playmaking ability.
And when there's no one there, I'll go for it. Draw the foul.
Yeah.
But when you have to reward your bigs for running the floor. Otherwise, they don't run the floor.
Take advantage of your numbers advantage.
Your job is to, first and foremost, as a point guard, set the table. Unless you're a Steph Curry type, and then it doesn't matter. But, listen, I want to rip on Frank Mason because the dude had a pretty damn good game last night. That's just a part of his game I'd like to see change. The Kings were outscored in the first, second, and especially the third. The fourth quarter, they did outscore the Nuggets by 10. Not to be a Debbie Downer here, let's just remember the Nuggets cleared their bench, as did Jaeger to a point. That 31-21 is a mirage. The real story was the first 3 quarters. They just got tired. Iman Shumpert, 12 points in 20 minutes. Again, shooting well, 40% from behind the arc, 4 of 7, threw in 3 assists and 2 boards. And I want to say I'm noticing something on Kings Twitter, and I kind of knew this was going to happen one way or the other. It's still very, very early. I'm not at all ready to proclaim one thing about Marvin Bagley or one thing about Harry Giles. And a lot of people are jumping to conclusions on Harry too, and I get it. He has looked terrible so far. He has really looked completely overmatched, which he did last night. He was 0 of 6 from the field, 4 fouls. He's too thin on defense, and his shot isn't going in at all. He can't find it. He's forcing a lot of stuff. He's unable to get inside. I'm not ready to declare Harry Giles a bust. I'm also not ready to declare Marvin Bagley an all-star, though he has looked very impressive in the first 4 games of the year. But what I'm starting to see on Kings Twitter is something that I think, and this would have gone either way, guys, is a little bit disingenuous, which is the Bagley-Doncic group. This is going to be a continuing fight throughout the year. And I'm seeing a lot of LOL, imagine if we had drafted Luka Doncic. Couple of things. One, Luka Doncic has had a pretty good year so far. He had a team-high 26 points the other night. His team, I believe, is 2-1. Secondly, here's why the Bagley thing, I'm talking to you, Matt George, is a little disingenuous. Because you're putting somebody who is on the Doncic side in a very unfortunate corner to either A, come out and argue against Bagley, or B, not say anything at all. For example, I was a Doncic guy. I'm rooting for Bagley. I hope he does well, and I'm proud of the kid. But if somebody comes to me and says, what do you think? And I've had many, well, what do you think of this Doncic-Bagley thing? I have 2 choices. I can either lie and say, I was dead wrong. I'm ready to declare it right now. I'm nowhere near ready to declare that in my brain. It's too early. Or I can say, well, and now I can start making a case for Luka Doncic. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make a case for Doncic right now because it's going to involve tearing down Bagley. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be put in that position. What's the point? So either way it goes. After the season, I think that's a very fair argument. I also know that fans are going to do what they want, and that's fine, and that's fair, and we need things to talk about online. I'm saying it's a disingenuous argument because you're keeping your eye off the ball. Why don't we focus on Marvin Bagley and what he's doing in a vacuum? Even if Doncic was putting up 30 a night, let's focus on Marvin Bagley. Let's not bring that into, are you a fan of the Kings or are you a fan of being right? And I talked about this before, and I'd say the same thing if Doncic was killing it. I promise you I would not be out there going, aha, Luka Doncic, huh? Who wanted Bagley, idiots? That doesn't benefit the Kings. That's a longer, more drawn-out conversation. But let's just cool it on the going around and saying I told you so's. Because A, it's certainly way far from being a decided thing. B, you're underscoring what Doncic is doing or undercutting it. And C, it's kind of an insult to Marvin Bagley. Let the kid play. He's on the Kings now. You root for him. That's the guy. It's about what he does and what the Kings do, not about, see, I told you so's. You want to get I told you so's with this team, that's going to be a long, drawn-out argument. We'll take a break. When we come back, four-quarter territory. I like doing this on Wednesdays. There's no football. You don't have football till tomorrow. You've had 2 days off since Monday Night Football. So we've got some NBA questions for you, and we'll do that next right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Down territory. On the drive. First down.
Oh, we'll go first quarter here. I like to switch it up. No football, even though we'll have the football music. And do some basketball since we got a lot of basketball going on this week and the season is back in play. Kyle Madson, first quarter, go.
Did we all forget about Blake Griffin?
I think so. A little bit. I can only speak for me. I can't speak for we all. So, I think Blake Griffin being in Detroit, I think Blake Griffin's injuries, I think I'm not ready to say the guy's an MVP candidate. He had a great game. He's had a good season so far, and that Detroit team might be better than a lot of people thought. But I do think that a lot of people forgot that when Blake Griffin's on, he's a very, very good basketball player. And last night dropping 50, man, that was something to see.
Yeah, he's lost some of the explosive athleticism that he had in the past, but he can still ball, man. He adds a little bit of a mid-range game. He can put the ball on the deck a little bit. He can't jump out of the gym like he used to, but he's still a very good player, and he's shown it early on this season. So I'm in the same camp as you. I sort of started to, I think, underrate him a little bit.
50 points, 14 boards, 6 assists, 1 turnover. Think about this. 1 turnover in 44 minutes in an overtime game. Kyle, he was 20 of 35.
That's wild.
And by the way, did we see Embiid post anything on his Instagram?
No,
because
I don't think so.
He and his friends got 50 dropped on him by a big man.
Yeah, but he got Andre Jarman ejected by flopping, so I'm sure he's really proud of himself.
Yeah, well, he also had 33, 11, and 7. It's not like Embiid sucked last night. But second quarter.
Second quarter.
Second down.
Team Rondo or Team CP3?
Team neither. What a dumb
question. That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. You're copping out of your own question.
If I had to choose.
Yeah, you have to pick. Gun to your head.
Okay.
I'll do a Dave situation. Gun to your head, sitting on a creaky swing that can only be fixed by one person who needs the answer to this question. Also, you're sitting above a pit of poisonous snakes that's also on fire and full of spikes.
Oh.
You have to pick one.
Okay, hand up, Kyle. Can I ask for a clarification on the question that you didn't write? When I assess team, is this team whoever I want to hang out with? Team who do I want on my basketball team? Team who do I want as a teammate type of thing? What is
team? These guys are going to court, and you have to defend one of them in court.
Defend them from their lives? Defend them from this specific incident?
From this incident.
Then I'm Team Chris Paul. I'm Team Chris Paul on this one. If we're talking about the specific incident in a vacuum, I'm Team Chris Paul. Both of them are little mosquitoes.
Yes.
Both of them get in people's heads. I don't believe for a minute that, and I thought Rajon Rondo, I listened to his explanation. I tried to believe him. I don't believe for a minute that he didn't mean to spit on Chris Paul. And, dude, when that escalated from dudes jawing back and forth to a full-grown fist fight, and we've talked about it before, somebody spits on you, all bets are off. There are like a list of like 3 things, maybe 4, that could get me to fight in this world. And one of them is if I get spit on. One of them is if I see domestic violence. One of them is if a family member's getting threatened. One of them is if I see a kid getting hit. That's like 4, I think. That's it. And that was one of them.
I'm Team Rondo here because I don't think he spit.
Really?
Yeah, at least not on purpose. I don't think he was aiming to spit on Chris Paul. If Chris Paul really got spit on, his reaction with the like one finger face mush, like, nah, dude, just swing on the guy then.
I mean, I can't speak to his reaction, but I can say that he immediately closed his eye. He immediately rubbed his face, said, "You spit on me," and then put his. So we're saying that Chris Paul's muted reaction forgives Rondo a little bit for spitting?
No, I just don't think Rondo spit. That's why I'm Team Rondo.
You saw the spit actually fly from his mouth.
Right. I think it was an inadvertent spit.
You didn't see his lips go?
No.
Wow.
That I did not.
We saw a different video then.
We interpreted the same video differently.
Third quarter.
I have to not take this case because I am for anybody punching Chris Paul in the mouth.
I get it. I'm not Team Chris. I don't want it. It's like rooting for the Red Sox.
Third down.
Are the Lakers in trouble? Trouble in La La Land.
I mean, no, in the sense that they're not going to be like a 10-win team. Look, you have LeBron James. But I think LeBron James came to L.A. understanding that they weren't going to compete for a title this year.
How effective is LeBron James if he's not making free throws?
Yeah, that didn't work. Nice fade.
Thanks.
They got LeBron James. And then we watched as Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka built the roster around him and laughed, almost as if you're literally building a roster. And this is something, by the way, that gets lost in this Paul Rondo thing. Paul Rondo, that's a funny name. Remember the offseason when we looked at all the signings, when we looked at the Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, who's actually been pretty good, Rondo. We looked at all these signings, and I'm forgetting a couple, and we went, are you purposely trying to make an all-crazy team? And then what do you know? 3 games into the year, and there's a fist fight and suspensions of 2 of the players. They built this roster completely stupid around LeBron James.
Yeah.
And we're seeing very early some of the effects of it. They'll be fine. They'll make the playoffs, but they're not winning any titles, Kyle.
Yeah, they built a roster to just get them through this season because they know they're going to go hard in free agency for Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
And that's when they're really going to make their push to compete.
I think we'll see some of these wackadoos go hit the road after that, too. All right, fourth quarter.
Fourth down.
Worth noting, Brandon Ingram was kind of the one that started that whole scuffle.
He was the
He
one who
wasn't
started
even one of
the
the
whole
weirdos.
scuffle. It's, you know what? Craziness is contagious, Kyle.
All right, real fast. Kings, Grizzlies, who you got?
I'll take Memphis. I think it's going to be a bad game for the Kings. I really do. This is not a good matchup for them, number one. Number two, first game home after a road trip is notoriously bad. 3, they're playing like 17 minutes after they just ran 70 miles in Denver. I'll be very impressed if they can keep this game in single digits in the fourth quarter. I think Memphis is going to come in and trash these guys. I'm going to go Memphis 131, Kings 107.
I've got the Kings winning this game because I think their pace is going to be a little too fast for Memphis. I don't think that a guy like Marc Gasol is going to be able to stay on the floor. And I think the Kings' speed in the backcourt is going to mess with Mike Conley a little bit. And I think the Kings go win this one 119-112.
If the Kings win tonight, I do agree it's going to be those 2 things you just listed are going to be massive. If they can win the battle of the backcourt and outspeed Conley, and if they can keep Gasol off the floor, yeah, they're going to have a really good chance at winning. I don't think it's going to happen, but I agree with your reasoning. We'll take a break. Hey, when we come back, special guest alert. booked during the last break. How about Memphis play-by-play voice and former KHTK employee Eric Hasseltine?
Of course.
Of course. Eric Hasseltine is going to join us. He's here in Sacramento. He'll be on with us next. We'll preview tonight's game and look at the Jaren Jackson Jr. Yeah, right.
Him too.
Yeah, him and the whole deal. We'll look at the Memphis Grizzlies and the Kings tonight with Eric Hasseltine next on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Hey, this is Kyle Madson with your top stories, not mine, yours, on Sports 1140. The Kings finished up their first road trip of the year with a loss to the Nuggets, 126-112 last night in Denver. The Kings' 112 points were the most allowed by the Nuggets so far this season. Rookie Marvin Bagley also had a good game with 20 points, 9 boards, 3 assists, and 5 blocks in 32 minutes. The Kings are right back at it tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies at the Golden One Center. We'll talk with Grizzlies play-by-play voice Eric Hasseltine about that game coming up next. Our pregame coverage for tonight's contest begins with game night at 5:30. Kings Live is at 6:30, and tip-off is set for 7 o'clock right here on Sports 1140. The Red Sox took a 1-0 lead in the World Series with an 8-4 win over the Dodgers last night thanks to a 3-run homer from former Giant Eduardo Nunez in the bottom of the 7th. Game 2 of that series is tonight. David Price heads to the mound for Boston against Hyun-Jin Ryu of the Dodgers. The Sharks went into the third period last night trailing 4-2 in Nashville, but got goals from Brendan Dillon, Joe Pavelski, and a game winner from Brent Burns to push San Jose to a 5-4 victory over the Preds. And the NFL trade deadline set for next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific. Teams are getting active on the trade market. The latest move saw Giants defensive lineman Snacks Harrison get shipped to the Detroit Lions for a 5th-round pick. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
All right, we'll get to Eric Hasseltine right here. I want to, listen, we're a sports show, but when stuff's going on, we're going to tell you about it. And there's a developing story happening that's been happening throughout the morning. We just want to bring you a little bit up to date. Billionaire donor, political donor George Soros had a suspicious package mailed to his house. I believe it was a couple days ago. I don't want to get this wrong. But now we're following the stories that other suspicious packages have been intercepted by the United States Secret Service at both the sent to both the Obamas and to Bill and Hillary Clinton's homes. And now the Time Warner Center in New York has been evacuated. That's the home of CNN because another suspicious package has been intercepted. So, listen, we've had other bigger things to deal with in the past, and you got to be really, really careful and really, really responsible here. And when you're a dumb sports donkey like me, you certainly don't want to speculate, but certainly all seem to be connected, and we'll keep you on that throughout the morning should anything else develop. Again, we have our eye on sports, but we also live in the world. So we'll certainly have that on one of our monitors and talk to you about that if anything else still happens. A lot of stuff going on the text line brought to you by Jiffy Lube at 441140 from the
roasted a guy.
You roasted a guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the guy who said that. Well, you know what? I don't want to read that text right now.
That's fair.
I'm going to move on
fair.
from that text.
Yeah.
From the 916, it's trash that the Kings have to play tonight after flying from Tennessee last night. Wait. Jazz don't have... No. No, Memphis is in Tennessee. Denver's in Colorado. The Kings flew from Colorado last night. And they have to play Memphis tonight, right? Then they play Washington in a couple of days. It's a 3 in 4 games deal.
They actually flew from Denver to
Tennessee,
to check in with the Grizz and be like, hey, you guys are coming, right?
And the Grizz were like, oh, we're already in California. Oh, snap. And then they had to fly back. Listen, it is trash. It sucks. We looked at the schedule before the season started and tried to explain as well as we could. It's a bad start to the season for these guys schedule-wise. It's really bad.
Tough scheduling. And when we tried to talk about it, I think people like this person that's saying it's trash, we're like, oh, you guys are so negative.
Getting very angry at us. There's a reason why we said, I shouldn't say we, I said, I don't want to put that on you, Kyle. There's a reason why I said 3-17, 6-14. That's your range.
It's a schedule loss.
Yes. They're playing a lot of really good
Although I think they
teams.
win tonight.
Hey, hope you're right. Hope you're right. Memphis coming off a win in Utah. They're well rested.
Oh, am I a bigger Kings fan than Carmichael Dave?
Wow. Well, I don't know. You tweeted last night about wanting to buy one of those classic Warriors jerseys.
Can't wait.
Can we just do that, though? Can we just establish that as a rule? Like, anytime, if you dare buy anything DeMarcus Cousins related that's Warriors, that I have the right to exchange it for a DeMarcus Cousins Kings apparel of the same type.
Okay.
And you have to
hang on. Let's hash this out because we got to call Eric.
Yeah, we got to call Eric.
But is this, I buy said jersey.
Yes.
I buy this Warriors throwback.
Right.
You buy a DeMarcus Cousins throwback Kings jersey.
Yes.
I have to give you the No.
No?
Absolutely not.
What about this? How about this? What about this? What about I guarantee that I will get you the opportunity. Now, you have to take it, but I'll get you the opportunity to go to a minimum of 2 Warriors games this year and a minimum of 1 Warriors playoff game this year.
Okay. If they make the playoffs.
When they make the playoffs. And you agree simply to never wear anything DeMarcus Cousins Warriors in this building.
That's all I have to do?
It's all you have to do. I can't stop you.
I can own it. I just can't wear it here.
I can't stop you from buying it. I would like to stop you from tweeting it, but I can't do that. But I just can't. I can't see it because it's really like, and here I am calling DeMarcus Cousins my girlfriend here, and that's not what I mean. But it's very much like you broke up with the girl.
Sure.
She's with the hot guy, and then you're in there. She went and married Brad Pitt, and now you're in there watching Troy all the time. You're in there watching Legends of the Fall.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let's get Eric Hasseltine on the phone. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. The guy who thought the Kings flew in from Tennessee apologizes. He says he's on his way to work, can't get his thoughts straight. I understand that. Also, random text that I get at least 4 times a day. At least the Kings are in line for a first-round pick. Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, we get it. They don't have a first-round pick. What do you want me to say? Cancel the season? Don't talk about them? Anything that we ever talk about with the Kings has to be followed with, and they don't have a first-round pick this year? Hey, listen, if you told me right now they're able to max out a 3-forward in the summer that's good, and by good I don't mean Kevin Durant because that's great, and by good I don't mean, Joe Schmo. If they're able to get Chris Middleton, Kelly Oubre, they're able to trade for Otto Porter, they're able to, even if they grab Bojan Bogdanovic, if that's the trade-off for the first-round pick, I'll take it. All right, joining us right now. Play-by-play voice of the Memphis Grizzlies. A guy that I've always thought of as an older brother to me from his days out here at KHTK. And kind of a life lesson. Kind of goes to show you that once you move away and once you make it big on the play-by-play circuit, when your little brothers try to call you on the phone, you don't pick up. And you only pick up or answer texts when you're in town. So one, the only Eric Hasseltine. Good morning, Eric.
You are like a little brother. The only thing that I missed was kicking your butt when you were younger, so you'd know better than to talk madness like this. It's insanity. What are you talking about?
Well, you see, Eric, the trick is that when I bring you on the show, I get to introduce you. And by saying the exact opposite, and I'm like, remember Eminem when he was in that rap battle at the end of 8 Mile, and he took away all the ammo of the guy that he was about to battle with before the guy could even say it. That I'm trying. You and I are having a radio battle. I know it's coming, and I'm just trying to take the ammo away.
You're good. You're good. I was not going to. I was not going to go down that path, but that's fine. If that's how you got to do it, I'm not familiar with 8 Mile nor that scenario, but okay.
You ever seen 8 Mile?
No.
What's wrong with you? It's a classic. You won an Oscar for the song.
Well, the song is fine. I don't know. I just have never seen that one.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Okay.
I've seen a lot of movies.
You haven't seen 8 Mile. All right.
No, by December 22nd when we're back here, I will watch 8 Mile.
Is that a promise? Is that a firm commitment?
Yeah, I said it on the radio. Don't I have to do it now?
Yeah, you're bound. It's like legal. Let let me make a statement, and then let's do sports radio stuff. I'll make a statement, and then you tell me if I'm right or wrong, and then extrapolate on the premise. This year's Memphis Grizzlies are far removed from last year's Memphis Grizzlies, and you better not take them lightly. True or false, Eric Hasseltine?
I thought you were going to do the old
buy or sell.
React. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true, except for one problem. The same thing that has plagued them for the last 2 to 3 years is plaguing them even now, and that's the injury bug. These happen to be one happens to be a little bit more of a freak injury, which is Michael Green breaking his jaw in the second game of the year, and the other is Chandler Parsons still is going to have knee soreness at times during the year. So they are far removed, though, and a big reason why is they went out and got really high IQ basketball guys in the offseason. None of their singular moves would ever be looked at as like a home run, like, oh my gosh, you got that guy, that's going to push you over the top. But they added Garrett Temple, who you guys are very familiar with. They added Kyle Anderson from San Antonio, the draft pick Jaren Jackson Jr., who a lot of people were a little skittish on because of what he didn't do at Michigan State, which was, dominate, play a bunch of minutes. But after seeing him in the summer and getting to know the kid a little bit, they may have really hit on something here. And so they added those guys. They picked up Omri Caspi, and they just went back to being who they were. They were never going to be able to run up and down the floor with the Houstons or the Golden States, so they're going back to being a physical team, a tougher team. But they're also going to play with a little bit more pace. And when they spread the ball and play aggressive on the offensive end, they're capable of scoring it. They didn't show it in Indiana because I thought they were tentative. They showed it against Atlanta, who I think a lot of teams will show they can score against because that's not a very good defensive team. And they got in a slugfest with Utah in their last game. So they're better. They're better simply because Mike Conley's healthy, but they're also better because they have a better team of guys with higher basketball IQs than last season.
There's going to be a lot of interesting subplots tonight because you have the return of Garrett Temple, who is a huge crowd favorite here and one of my favorite Kings of all time. Omri Caspi, another guy, former King, who is beloved here. And then, of course, you have Dave Yeager as a head coach of the Kings, who I'm sure always gets a little more jacked up against the Grizzlies. You have J.B. Bickerstaff running the show there for David Fizdale, which I think a lot of people didn't expect outside of Memphis to happen. Are there any things on the surface or even below the surface, Eric, that you can tell us differences you see in a very young season between the Bickerstaff Grizzlies and the Fizdale Grizzlies?
Yeah, they were trying to, listen, Coach Fizdale is a good dude, and I enjoyed getting to know him over the year plus, and a lot of people felt like he didn't get a fair shot. The problem was when you lose connection with your main guys, it's hard to get it back. And I think one of the reasons the Grizzlies pulled the trigger the way they did was because they had J.B. Bickerstaff on the staff, and they really like him. So, yes, you can, because the style's a little bit different. David Fizdale was trying to get this team to play a little bit more fast-paced, trying to get away from the era that they've dubbed the grit and grind era, which was, all about toughness and physicality, and Zach Randolph and Tony Allen just, getting down in the mud, and tried to get it back to a more modern NBA, and it just didn't jive, it didn't work. And so JB's embracing that. He's always been a defensive-minded guy, so they're trying to work on defense first and then offense coming along. But he's also he's as relaxed a head coach as I've ever seen, Dave, and I don't mean that in a negative way towards any of the guys that have been there before, including Dave Yeager, because I thought Dave was really relaxed. But JB is just, he's got this calm about him that, the confidence is, I know what I'm doing, so just follow me and we'll be okay. And you want to do it because you believe that, all right, I believe you, because you wouldn't be this convinced if you weren't thinking you're right. Now, there's going to be nights where it didn't work, and it just didn't work on opening night. There were a lot of people going, what happened there? And he, on that night, for the first time I've seen on that day in practice and then on that night later, he essentially, got on them as vigorously as I've seen. So he's really good with the balance of knowing when to, just kind of ease into things and when to ramp it up. So, he grew up the son of a coach. So I think he's been groomed for this. I think this is something he's always wanted to do. At one point, he said in his life he wasn't going to get into coaching, and then he realized he really wanted to. And having his father, Bernie Bickerstaff, who's been an NBA coach on several occasions, in his corner, I think helps as well. And also having the support of Mike Conley and Marc Gasol does not hurt, and that's something that I don't think David Fizdale had at one point, and people kind of blame Marc Gasol for the firing, but some of that is on the coach too for the relationship not being cultivated the proper way.
Eric Hasseltine, play-by-play voice of the Memphis Grizzlies, also former KHTK staffer who once said a very bad word on the air, joining us right now.
That's great. Wait, just once? I think there were a couple of times.
Was it?
That's why they have the dump button.
Hold on, I remember now we're getting into this. I remember the one. There was the one where you were on the road. I think you were going to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the big one.
Yeah, that was the coup de grace. That was the one that would have gotten me the bright boy in my mouth if I were in Christmas Story.
There was another, though?
Yeah, I think so, probably. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's happened a couple of times. But people always ask me how that doesn't happen more in radio, and I said, it happens. We've got a guest on our station in Memphis that's a regular with the afternoon guy, and they literally have to have their finger at the dump button every time, but he's so popular they have him. Yeah, no, I was Driving to a Raiders game. I was on with the car czar.
The car czar, Doug Browner.
Yeah, and he would have me on, and I was going down. I was in the car at the time. This was before like Bluetooth and headsets, so everybody talked on their phone. And the guy in front of me was doing the same, and I was paying attention, and he did something, and I said, like this effer in front of me. and Doug, and I was just, it was early because Doug was on like 8 to 10. I had to be down at those Raider games by 10 o'clock, so this was like 8:30, and I'm rolling through. I think it was like Dixon, and this guy just basically almost takes off my front bumper. No, I love Dixon. Stop. I worked at Cattleman's for years.
Oh, I got you. Don't want you swearing on the air again.
And so he did that, and I just started laughing, and it became legendary. And I just waited 7 seconds, and I rolled. I just went back and counted down 7 in my mind, and then I just kept rolling with it.
You waited for the delay to build back up. That's being a pro.
Yeah. So it ended up working out, but the people back in the studio certainly knew that, yes, I once dropped an F-bomb on the radio.
I get the question, too. I think everybody in radio does. How do you flip it off? And no pun intended. And most people in radio are colorful outside anyways. And oftentimes I'll tell them, if you've ever hung out with our dear friend Grant Napier off the air, you understand that he is the Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky and whoever else you want of he can definitely turn a phrase. I don't think Grant's ever screwed it up. I honestly don't. I got to ask him, but I don't ever remember Grant ever getting dumped on the radio. That's the ultimate switch off right there.
Yeah, no, I can't, but I will tell you this. He's nowhere near the league of Jerry West.
Really?
So, it's remarkable. I mean, when I tell you remarkable,
right?
Jerry also doesn't go on the radio. And Jerry's just like this in real life. I don't know how much time you have, but I can tell you a hysterical story real quick. We played Golden State, and it was my first full season as the radio voice. And we played Golden State in Oakland, and like Mike Miller was hurt, Brian Cardinal was hurt. Brian Cardinal was in, Pau Gasol was hurt. But like the entire Golden State roster was out. Baron Davis, Andres Biendrins. And so my partner at the time, Sean Toohey of the Blindside fame, said, hey, make sure tonight we talk about our injuries too, because that's a big factor. And I said, okay, so we do. And win the game, fly home, and have a day off the next day at shoot-around. I'm sitting in there. Mike Fratello's got the team in film session. And I see Jerry West walking over towards where we're sitting mid-court with our sideline guy. And he proceeds to go on a 2-minute rant about how we work for the Grizzlies, and all he heard was effing Golden State's hurt and effing this. And I'm telling you, he dropped 37 F-bombs in less than 60 seconds. And I'm going like, what in the world? And I just look at him, and, it's Jerry West. So you just go, yes, sir, no problem,
Sure.
Get it. Our TV sideline guy is literally like about to pee down his own leg because he's terrified. And so he walks back by Tony Barone Sr., who was in our front office and ended up becoming our head coach at one point. He goes, hey, Jerry, what's going off on Eric? What happened? He goes, these effing TV guys. And he goes, well, that's the radio guy. And he looks back and he goes, oh, F it. And he walks out of the room. But the next day I see him, he puts his arm around me, and he's like, hey, man, you want to come up to my office and talk some hoops? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, you're Jerry West. And he was like, never apologized.
Wow.
But from that point on, I would have basketball conversations with him because I think he felt bad, but didn't know how to admit he was wrong.
So the logo should probably be a middle finger. That's what it probably should be.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's remarkable. I mean, you're right about Grant. Grant gets it all out of there when he's outside of the studio, and but he does it in a way that's kind of weaved into the conversation. And with Jerry, the conversation can be based around the F-bomb.
Eric Hasseltine is the play-by-play voice of the Grizzlies. We will have that action tonight, starting at 7 o'clock from Golden One Center. Eric, I'm completely out of time, but one question I got to ask you. I don't know if you know this or not, but I would imagine Jaren Jackson starting tonight?
Yes,
okay.
He is. Jermichael Green's out 4 to 6 weeks. Just an inadvertent off arm, fractured jaw, and, look, this may be a Wally Fitz situation. Jaren looked pretty good in his first one. I'm looking forward I'm not sure. I looked at Marvin Bagley's minutes, but if he gets in the game tonight, I'd like to see those two go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, Jackson versus Bagley is going to be a main event tonight. We'll have all that for you 7 o'clock right here on Sports 1140 KHTK with the great Gary Gerald on the call. Buddy, I will be out there tonight. I will come down, and I will kiss you on the mouth, my friend.
I'd wish you wouldn't because there's a restraining order against you for that, but just how about a high five? But I look forward to seeing you.
I'll see you tonight. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. It's Eric Hasseltine, voice of the Memphis Grizzlies, all-around good guy, and a good friend of Jerry West. Did you hear that? Humble brag? I'm Eric Hasseltine.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I talk to Jerry West all the time.
I love Eric. I'm so proud of him. I love seeing KHTKers do good. We'll take a break. Yes, sir?
I can actually, while people are on the phone, I can jump on and talk over the air where they can't hear me. And I think anytime a guest does that now, I'm going to jump on and just do that.
That's so jacked up, but not a bad idea. We'll take a break. When we come back, now we'll finally get to a word from about Dr. Jack Friedlander, NorCal Lipo, and Scott Bear is going to join us to talk Raiders next, right here on The Drive, Sports 1140 KHTK.